So now I will ask our panelists to come to the stage for our first panel. And our first panel is a plenary panel of criminal justice partners. Sheriff Michael Hennessy. Supervisor Ross Mir-Karimi. Our new Deputy Chief of Probation, Patrick Boyd. Philip Torta, who is the West Bay District Administrator of Parole for the California Department of Corrections. We also have the Chief Deputy Secretary, Maricela Montes, of Adult Programs of the California Department of Corrections. Thank you for making time to be here. And Daniel Zarita, who is the Supervisor of the U.S. Federal Probation. Now, the purpose of this panel is to really look to criminal justice policymakers, and not only to have them present what they are doing around reentry, but also to give you the opportunity to ask questions. Now, we have two other panels that are happening in the afternoon at home in the communities, decreasing the disproportionate impacts of violence and incarceration, and Inside Out, increasing access to appropriate services and resources later this afternoon. And I do want to emphasize that on each of these panels, we also have formerly incarcerated individuals and people who have recently been released to talk about what their needs are, because their voice is probably the most important to be heard here. And so now, it gives me great pleasure to introduce our MC and Mistress of Ceremonies for the event today. Her name is Joanne Marr. She is an award-winning journalist and documentary producer who has worked in public radio for many years, since the mid-1980s. Her feature reports and documentaries have been broadcast on National Public Radio, The Voice of America, Justice Talking, Living on Earth, The Charles Osgood File, Pacifica Radio, Soundprint, the BBC, and the AARP primetime series. Several of her programs have won national broadcast awards, too many to name here. Currently, Joanne is a media fellow with the Open Society Institute and is working on a documentary on the California prison crisis. And if you look in your packet, there is a CD of a radio program that Joanne did on the prison crisis here in California. Her involvement with prisons started in law school at Syracuse University when she took part in the school's prisoner rights clinics for 2 years. At graduation, she worked for 8 years as a public interest attorney representing indigent clients. As part of her work in media, Joanne has been a news reporter and anchor at KPFA, a community radio station in Berkeley, California. She also received a special commendation from the Berkeley Unified School District in 1998 for her school broadcasts and reports, and she's also on staff at KALW, a public radio station in San Francisco. So with that, Joanne, thank you very much, and take it away.
Good morning, everybody. I'll be moderating the morning and afternoon panel discussions on the subject of reentry, working together to support San Franciscans after incarceration. And we're starting the morning session with this plenary panel of distinguished criminal justice partners. But before we get to our panel discussion, I'd like to introduce San Francisco Mayor Gavin Newsom, who's here with opening remarks, and he'll be talking about the importance of reentry programs, and perhaps he could address himself to initiatives that San Francisco could be spearheading to work towards a comprehensive reentry support system for ex-offenders with the goal of reducing violence and incarceration. San Francisco Mayor Gavin Newsom.
Thank you very much. Thank you all very much for being here. I'll try to be brief because I know the panel wants to get going, and District Attorney and I, we're both on another panel in just a moment on the other side of town. So I just wanted to first say, first and foremost, thank you, Jeff Adachi, for organizing this event again. Thank you for your leadership, for your commitment for your advocacy and, most importantly, for your leadership to move away, as you said, Jeff, from who's to blame to what to do. And this is so fundamental in this discussion. It's no longer good enough to state the obvious. We know the statistics. You have lived as part of those statistics. We know the problem. Now, what are we going to do differently in order to produce a different result? All of us agree that if we continue to do what we've done, we'll get what we've got. We recognize that good enough never is as well. And while we are making tremendous progress with our Back on Track program, with our Clean Slate program, with the Service League's good work and Goodwill Industries' good work, and senior ex-offender programs and Project Rebound and the like, that's not good enough. We've got to do better. We've got to get to the next level. I say this because we live it in so many other ways at City Hall, because at the end of the day, at a local level, that's where the burden lies. You can intellectualize it at the federal level, you can intellectualize it at the state level, but when it comes to the topic of reentry, when it comes to the topic of the criminal justice system, it's manifested in our neighborhoods, in our diverse communities, and that is very real and raw, and we need to reconcile that. So I'm very honored that all of you are here. I'm very proud of the fact that many of you are here that have struggled to get here. And for those of you that have gotten yourself up, made mistakes, we all do, learn from those mistakes, and have the courage now to step up and step in to be here, I think you, more than anyone else, deserve the recognition because you're living, breathing examples of what we're fighting for and what this is all about. I've always believed everybody has the capacity to flow with the forces of life, to be fully expressive. And I've always believed that your past does not equal your future. And I say that more often to people that are successful, that think that's automatic in the future, as much as I do to people that have made mistakes in the past, that can reconcile those mistakes and move on. And I also believe, in the context of what Jeff was saying, is he can quote Malcolm X, I'll quote Dr. King, that we're all bound together by a web of mutuality, that we're all in this together. And he took that right from the Bible that says we're many parts, but one body. And when one part suffers, we all suffer. And we recognize our fate today in this effort, in this collaborative, in this coordinated approach. But let us not forget that it's not just faith, it's works. And for us to manifest change, we've got to take action. We need to do it boldly, in a coordinated way, and we need to have the courage to change. And so it's in that spirit, again, I thank you all for being here. I look forward to the discussions. You've got some enlightened leadership here with Supervisor Mercarimi, our great sheriff. We've got other great representatives here, and our district attorney. It doesn't get much better, folks, than this. We're the envy for other cities across the country. So we have an obligation to become the example of solutions. And I know the answers are out there. We just have to have the courage to find them and the courage to adopt new solutions. So I congratulate all of you, welcome all of you, and look forward to a successful second annual summit. Thank you all very, very much.